Welcome back. I know you missed Medic! Speed. Oh, that's perfect product placement. You see what they don't and say what they want.
This is unofficial business.
Welcome back. I know you missed me. It's Coach P,
Coach
aka
P,
Goat Doe, the unofficial assistant coaches. You might know me as Coach Oos. Honorary Uso. Shout out to my guest today, though. Before I even start, first of all, I had to check with my team and run over this real quick, because y'all ain't gonna have me on here looking bad. I was looking at a resume that was so impressive from sports to business that I was like, y'all sure we on the same? No disrespect, but I had to be sure because I couldn't come over here and fall on my face. This resume, like you said, this man is the father of a 5-star athlete. Probably got more talent on the way, but this man needs to show about what he done himself. You know, we like I said, we go get to showing how, you know, we got some of the best players, we got some of the best parents too, and I don't really know who else to start at the show after reading this guy's stats. So let's just get into it. Okay, we got a Miami native in the building. Shout out to Miami. Two-time Black college American. I'm talking about 92 to 93. Shout out. I'm talking about we going back when most of y'all wouldn't even thought of. We gonna keep it real. We going back to the real time. Shout out to the 90s. I'm so glad that I was able to experience those years. Shout out to the Michaels as well. Ran the 90s. I'm talking about Jordan, Tyson, and Jackson. Let's get back to it. 1992 Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Player of the Year. I'm not seeing you just an honorable man, not the player of the year. Okay, 3-time all Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, 91, 92, and 93. That's a trifecta. The 3 back to back. Could have went 91 to 93, but he gonna go 91, 92, and 93. Okay, I'm seeing the trend here. All AAC first team in 92 and 93. The all-time division leading scorer. So I see where the athleticism come from. This man had 1,795 points. Let's keep it real. Y'all know that's 1,800. Let's say 1,795 in my book is 1,800. The all-time division leading scorer. Also finished as the Rattlers' all-time division leading rebounder. So this man, okay, so that explains the size. So we get the speed and athleticism. And now we see the size, because you ain't getting 974 rebounds, averaging 9.1, you know, at 5'10, you know, weighing a buck 60. So it's all starting to make sense. But what's crazy about it, this just the athletic side. We go get further down. Shout out to man, Coach C. We go talk about the business size later. But let me get my man into the room. Welcome, like I said, Miami, Waco, aka Corpus Christi, aka Waco. Mr. DeLon Turner is in the house. How you doing, Mr. D?
I'm doing great, and I am humble with your introduction of me and who I am and what I have accomplished at Florida A&M University.
Oh, no, sir. Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you. And I'm going to let you talk like a they'll say I cussing people out. But before you start, don't humble whatever. Because like I said, my coaches will come on here in a second. And I firmly asked them, are y'all sure that what I'm reading is who I'm finna be interviewing today? Don't throw me out there and because you know you can Google something or you can holler at something. It too might have the same name, but it might be different birthdays. Are y'all sure that this is who we talking about? Oh man, you like I said, we can talk about your relationship to this 5-star first round draft pick, but man, you really have a beautiful resume. I would love to be in the footsteps, in the position of Dallas Turner as an NFL first round draft pick right now. But if I didn't have that to choose from, I'm looking at you. I would love to be. You got a beautiful track resume yourself. You know, the world might not know, but what I was seeing, I'm like, what?
Yep.
This is the beauty of being a parent at Alabama. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, and yourself. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here and speak with you guys. I am a huge fan of your commentary on social media, have been for the last 2 years, and the way you dissect a football game and highlight the players and the names you come up with. So, huge fan of you guys, and it's just a great opportunity to be on here speaking with you guys today.
Hey man, so hey, we love to hear it, man. So thankful that you could even bless us with those type. Well, how did you even come across the videos? Just catching it through the wind of other players, or you actually just stumbled on it, googling you? How you come across?
Well, I think algorithms put you in touch with who you follow and they see those trends. And I've been following it for the last 2 years, and just the commentary just really got me caught. And the way you guys speak on the game and break down film, I think is great. So strictly just through social media, and became a huge fan. And I think one of the first things I think you renamed Dallas Beaumont, Waco, and I just thought it was funny. It was hilarious to me. But you do a very good job in the insight that you provide, to the page and in regard to game breakdown and film and play. So I really liked it.
Man, appreciate you so much, man. That's beautiful to hear. Cause like I said, I'm gonna be real. Before we called you, your nickname amongst our people was him. We read your resume. We said this is him. They go vouch when they come on this call, man. Your name was him. So during all the going with all your success, I'm sure the business kind of grew over the years after your college. The business aspect of your life probably grew over the years. But what did you do soon as you left college with all the sports accolades that you was riding, all these awards and way? First of all, man, I'm Alabama to the core. But when I was coming out of high school, I was dealing with the band a lot, man. So when I
Yeah.
first left high school, I didn't know going to college that I was going to be able to actually go to college. If I could have picked where I was going out of high school, everybody knew I was down with FAMU because of the Marching 100. You know what I'm saying? I actually filled out Alabama to just because my whole family rolled tide. It was just a bias thing. But if I
Yeah.
knew I could have actually went to school, I almost probably would have ended up at FAMU if it was my choice. Now, hindsight, being that everything worked out as it did, and I'm down with the tide how it should be, I'm glad I went to Bama. But shout out to you, because like I said, I almost was down there claiming that FAMU with you, man. But go ahead about your years following that.
Yeah, so I was shaped and raised by Miami Gardens, better known as Carroll City High School, in that community. And when I went to FAMU, once I left, I played basketball in Europe for about 10 years. So
Oh,
it
okay.
really helped me grow as a person. I traveled the world, different continents, learned a few languages, and really shaped who I am today, just on my experience being abroad. Sometimes we are circumstances of our close knit environment, but
Mm-hmm.
it really helped stretch me as a person, made me think about things differently, showed me the other view of the world and how people uh, live in different communities and cultures. So I really embraced that time when I was over there.
Hey, that's a beautiful thing, and that's important too, man. We A lot of us only know what we used to, only know what we learned, only deal with people that's thinking like us is great. Like I
Yep.
said, me coming from man, Avondale Projects, moved out to Center Point further when I was smaller. I get to go to Alabama, and it's not just my immediate environment of people that I'm used to. Man, I was able to meet people from all over just at Alabama. People that I probably would have never met if I just stayed in Birmingham doing what I was doing the whole time coming up, man. So I definitely understand all that. I know you got Dallas doing what he doing. Do you got another another
Yep.
Turner coming to try
Yeah.
to outdo what he done did, man? Who we got? I already know the name and stuff. Go and give us a small introduction.
Denver Turner. We are actually en route, my wife and I, to drop him off at IMG Academy. He's going to play basketball, putting him in an environment to succeed. He's spreading his wings a little bit earlier, leaving our nest, but you got to be in those pressure type situations for you to grow. And I think he's going to a great environment. He's a basketball player. He does not play football. His mentality is totally different from Dallas. Two different people, two different characteristics, two different attitudes. But you want to feed them what they can to be successful, and that's what we're en route now. I actually pulled over to have this call with you guys, so I'm sitting at a Wawa in the parking lot somewhere in
Woo, man, I appreciate it, man. I did get
somewhere
the word
between.
from Coach D that you was doing that for us, man. And again, we
I did not
appreciate it.
want, yeah, I didn't want any disturbance or bad connection. I wanted this to be clear because it's a great opportunity to speak. I'm a huge fan of you guys, and I want to make sure I represent what you guys are putting out in the public correctly.
Hey, appreciate that, man, and shout out to him coming up, man. Like you said, it just because, like you said, Dallas excels so much in football. Like you said, his favorite sport might be some a whole nother area. And like you said, when you just get behind your kids and what they want to be at, and not just pushing them because I did this or because your brother did this. Hey, that's a beautiful thing, man. And I'm sure I'm sure with how you putting it down over there in the household, he'll be great at whatever he want to do. So I'm sure he's on the right track. Man, I
Yeah,
actually
definitely.
thought you did cars for a motor, man. That engine that old Beaumont got over there. I actually thought you did something in the car
You
industry. I'm
thought
gonna be honest.
you
When
thought I had a
when I read that
450
resume,
block?
it was different.
He had a 450 block in him. That's how he operates.
I can believe it, man. I'm telling you. All right, now I'm gonna tell you. Okay, let's get to these names, man. How did we come up with Dallas? Because
uh,
we make a lot of little reference. I know it don't have nothing to do with the city,
That
but
has nothing to do with
but
it has
we'll.
nothing to do with the city. And I'm gonna tell you
Okay,
the real as a
okay.
funny story. When I was in Korea, me and my teammate, we played Madden all day. And his son came over and we played a tournament and he was like, all right, we can make one player. So he made his son a running back named Jalen, never forget it. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna make my son on this game too. We only can make one player. And I was playing with the Cowboys and I just said his name, Dallas, and I made him a defensive end.
Oh,
And that's a true story. And I text my wife and I said, hey, we have a son named Dallas. She was like, all right, I like that. And just
whoa.
naturally, Denver came after. And it's funny because, we didn't want him to have a name like DeLon. So, wanted him to have his own identity and not
Right,
be labeled in any kind of capacity of by names and things of that nature. So, we gave him a very fluid name.
right, right, right,
And it has stuck to him, and it's a good thing. He just embraced that's who he is. His brother named Denver, but it has nothing to do with the cities.
right, right, right. Now, I'm just going and think I'm going by my deep research department. Is it true or false? At one time during that pregnancy of old Dallas, that y'all considered naming him Birmingham, but ended up going with Dallas because Birmingham was too long in one of y'all opinion. I don't know who opinion felt it was too long, and if it's true or not, I'm just saying true or false. That's what we got there. What we got?
That is true. We did not want to name him Birmingham. It was too long. Couldn't spell
Hey,
it. Too many syllables. Way too many syllables.
Hey, I just had to check, man. I'm checking with my research department, man. I'm just making sure we on the same page, man.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a few things before we get into, like I said, the some of the great stuff that make you the man who you is. Like I said, it's a beautiful thing to have the sports background and the accolades, the trophies, the awards. But man, you got some
Mhm.
real stuff going on, man, that really opened our eyes to how successful guys can be out there. And we really want to touch on that. But let's just ask you a few questions before we get
Okay.
into that, man. Some of the let's go with your favorite players at Bama. Say maybe a 1A and a 1B or a 1 and 2, but who's your top teammate of Dallas while he was at Alabama?
Well, we got to go back all the way back to Miami. Probably what had to be what in the '90s, late '80s. My
Right.
favorite all time player is Derek Thomas. Derek Thomas,
Okay.
local
Okay.
product
Okay.
from South Florida. Seeing him dominate in high school, and then just seeing him dominate at Bama, and seeing him dominate in the pros, he really set the bar, in my opinion, for defensive player with my eyes that I saw. If I had to take a second, Pat Surtain, really watching him play, watched him in high school. Dallas played with him in high school. So those are great players I looked at and was like, wow. And then I seen Will Anderson. And, not Derek Thomas, but man, one of the best I've seen do it in person. Never seen Derek Thomas
Man.
play in person, but if you take those three players, man, they had a huge impact on the culture of the school. Dallas would be my fourth player. I love the way he played and the different things that he brought to the field. So I would put it in that group right there. People I watch enjoy play, and I got a chance to see Pat, Will, and Dallas, which has been great. Those guys did it at a very high level. So, respect to all four. Um, Dallas and Will are in the outside linebacker room, both on one side of Derek Thomas. And I just had to let him know. I said, man, I think that's a great thing to have your picture next to him,
Yes,
because he
yes,
is head and
man,
shoulders
yes.
above everybody that
Because
those
even if
that
they
did it
saw
up.
highlights and even if they hear the stats, they could never
Can't
know
imagine.
the
They
true
can
dominance of that man.
28 sacks in one season.
One season, man, you
One
could
season
never
is
like
incredible.
even reading that and seeing what the second
Yeah,
place players, it still can't tell you
you
the
cannot.
dominance of that guy.
The dominance of what he did. So, if I had to rank him, that's what it'd be ranked. If I went offense, man, I love just watching Bryce Young and what he did there. I thought he's one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in college. And yeah, that's how I kind of view it.
Okay, so let me ask you this one: who was one of the favorite parents during your stay at Bama Dog during his tenure? Who was another one of the parents that you came in and locked in with and became real good friends with?
Oh, no doubt, Fred Battle. Me and Fred Battle have known each other since I was 20, playing pickup in summer leagues together in Miami, South Florida, guy like myself. Spent a lot of time with him. Him and Jordan had a great impact on, the decision with us. And, we knew each other before, so it was natural for us just to kind of bond. And, we were just really close. And that was a good thing for us, to have that comfort when we first came because, it's stressful in the stands as parents. So you got to
Oh
be
yeah, yeah.
with like-minded people that you enjoy being around and trust. And it's always been him. So when he left, I was like, "Ooh, what am I going to do?"
You was out there feeding them for yourself.
The Andersons really were close with them, and the Milrows. So, those are the people that we kind of bonded with. And I'm a dad, so I ain't moving around too much. I kind of kept to myself a little bit.
Gotcha. Were you a fan of Nick Saban before all this recruiting and stuff? Like, was it just a respect thing, or or was you actually a fan of him as well
Well,
before we tried to get Dallas up to Alabama?
Well, you got to think, Nick Saban wasn't, a fan favorite in South Florida. I didn't, before I knew him, you judge people from afar. I knew
Right,
he had a high level of success, but it came with a lot of arrogance that I thought. And then when you meet him, you're like, oh man, this guy is one of the best to ever do it. And what he presented as a culture and the way he shaped young men and shaped the program. And not only just shaped the program, but what he's did from the state of Alabama and so many kids throughout their tenure there. It just you can't help but say, he got to be one of the top two to ever done it. And
right,
just what he demanded and the level of what I call organizational structure that I've never seen before. He ran it like a Fortune 500 company,
right.
and I think that's what he built and that's what he instilled. And so yeah, he was one person that I had to get to know, and once I got to know him, it was all respect, and just put him at the top of my list for coaches.
Gotcha. Can you remember your favorite game during that time? During all this, like you said, sitting there in those at the stands. Now you might, I don't know if some games you rather just stay back or whatever, but at the game, is this one game that you like, man, I'll never forget that game?
I think it was Dallas's freshman year against LSU, um, and because Jason Taylor was at the game and we watching the game. I think Dallas had a sack and he texted me. He was there visiting with his son Mason. And he was like, "Man, did you see it?" And I said, "Man, I can't see nothing." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Man, he just got a sack. He almost had another sack." I think that was one of the most exciting times because that Jason Taylor coached Dallas in high school. He really pushed
Right,
him a
right,
lot.
right.
Coached him at St. Thomas. He was a friend of the family, and he was there with a visit with his son Mason, and he was excited. Because that's like his. I was his prodigy, and I was excited as a dad. And he was like, "Did you see it?" I said, "I didn't see nothing."
Yeah, that's
And it came
magical,
on.
man.
Yeah, that was a really that the last 30 seconds of that game was incredible. So, that's one of my highlights there. And no doubt about the Auburn game last year. That was just on a whole nother level of
Oh
just
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So those probably my two top favorite moments because of just how exciting it was just to be in
Roll
there
Tide,
watching it.
roll Tide, baby. Hey, now let's
Hmm.
let's move up to this new life, man. I'm talking about 17 pick in the first round, man. This a beautiful thing, man. How you felt on that draft night to hear that name called, man? As a father, how it really felt, man.
Man, the draft is a stressful time. I just think you got to take it in because it's a once in a lifetime experience. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
Everybody had them slated to go to Atlanta. I thought he was going to Atlanta. then you start to hear different things, and you get picked, but it's still like, okay, it wasn't what you expected, but you're still in a unique fraternity, and you got
Right, right, right,
you are in the professional ranks, so many people don't have that ability to do.
right.
And no matter where you get drafted, you drafted because some players want to draft it. So it's a lot of
Exactly.
uncertainty. So, at first it was a punch in the gut a little bit. It's a stressful time. You're like, man, where we going now? Now we really don't know where we going.
Oh
So
yeah.
you figure it out, and when you get there, and Minnesota has been great. I think Brian Flores is probably the best fit for him. It's just
Great, great.
creativity and how they're utilizing him there. It's an adjustment in Minnesota, but sometimes it's not about the city; it's about the organization and
Right,
how they
right,
and the coaching staff. And we all love Atlanta. Hey, it's an hour and a half flight from our house, but hey, it is what it is. Minnesota is his home, and that's our home. And we're Viking fans.
right, right. Yeah, that's the blessed part about it, the opportunity
Hmm.
that the Vikings gave. I know he gonna make the
Hmm.
most out of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been there, man. I've been with a player, and we thinking hey, the thing about it, he's still winning that round. I've been
Still,
with a player, and we've missed a couple rounds, and we like you said, we like when is this call coming? When is we going? But at the same time, when we finally got that call, we were still just as happy. You know what I'm
just as
saying?
happy.
Especially the people around him, the player per se might not be as happy, but us knowing, the opportunity is still there to be in the NFL and, do what you blessed to do, we still just
Yep.
as happy. We just
Yep.
gotta save his confidence because they young and they just seeing it as what it is. Oh, I should have won this and what okay, use that as adrenaline then. But he's still, like I said, it's still a 17th pick in the first round. I do a lot of stuff
Yeah, a
to
lot of
be a
stuff to get there. Hey,
17th pick, man,
you consider the 17th best player in the country.
in the country.
It was an anomaly this year because you had so many quarterbacks go, but it was an
Exactly.
emotional night watching JC get drafted. I have a really good relationship with him, and to see that right next to me was just like, okay, he's not my son, but you're like, man, I watched this kid grow up since high school, and now
Yeah.
he's reached his dream. I spent a lot of time with him, so you get that, and you got Terrion Arnold in there. He gets drafted, so it's a lot of emotions for a lot of people.
Right,
And
right.
and I think you just have to sit back. Maybe a year from now, you remember it. I just think it was a comment somebody made on Twitter. It was like they got my man Dallas eating Doritos in Atlanta. Atlanta got my man
Hey,
eating Doritos, and it was funny because Doritos reached out and gave him a marketing deal off of that.
right. And that's how quick things go these days. Just
Yes,
like that.
that's just how quick things
Spin
go.
off that comment right there. Next thing you
Yeah,
know, he the
he,
Doritos spokesperson
yeah,
and
he the
that quick.
Doritos spokesperson, which was so funny. But it was funny at the time, but it wasn't funny because he was eating Doritos, and I could tell he
Right,
was getting
right.
stressed out. But
Very understood.
yeah.
Who
So
would you compare him to in the NFL? Your own son. Who would you compare him to?
man, I am not an NFL guy. I'm still trying to learn stuff. I'm a college football, women's
Mm-hmm.
basketball kind of guy.
Right,
I don't know how to look at the games. I don't know who I would compare him to. And I think he's trying to define who he wants to be, and I think
right,
that's more so his playing style. He does a lot, and so it's nothing like just one strict thing with him. So I think
right.
he's learning that. He's I think he's adjusting to the speed of the game, the physicality of it. First thing he said, man, we don't practice as hard as we did at Alabama. Um, I think you hear that from a lot of players that go into the NFL
Yeah, we
from
have. We have.
Tuscaloosa. And he said it's
Mm-hmm.
more about training the mind, reading the playbook, understanding what you're supposed to do. He said, I didn't get cussed out one time here, which I thought was funny. I said, I thought everybody get cussed out in football.
Right, right, right.
He said they don't talk to us like that. I was like, wow. But
Yeah, I think a drill sergeant is when I think of the coaches and assistant coaches out there and they face and stuff. I would
uh,
think it's a everyday thing.
I thought it was everyday thing too. He's like, you got to think, everybody here grown men, so I get it.
Yep, yep,
I
and
get it.
rich, and like I
Yeah,
said, that's a rumor that we heard why Nick left because those rich guys ain't listening as much as like I said back in the day when Nick first was coaching. These college players were starving.
yeah,
You listen to one, but now, and that's another reason why we said Nick was probably leaving too. When you start paying these players, they don't listen to the wise man no more. The guy that can get them to the promised land. We already in the promised land now because we rich at Bama, so. That was just one of the factors, but we made jokes about that. But yeah, those paid players, you can't argue, you can't holler at them the same way.
No, I mean the game has changed. I think from an economic standpoint, you have to look at the dynamics of the market, free market capitalist society, and how players are getting paid based on they're still amateurs, but they have a market value. They have
Right,
value. They have value for marketing. They have value for who they are in the field. So it's important to kind of understand that and embrace it. Change is inevitable. You got to keep moving with it.
right. And that's a good. I'm glad you said that. There's another thing you said right before this when you said the speed of the game and all that.
Hmm.
That what you just said is a good transition. Like I said, I want to talk this business side, but before we get to that, you just mentioned the speed of the game. What Dallas was saying and all that. Speaking of speed, I'm talking 4.46 in the 40, man. This guy could be playing wide receiver, could be playing running back or something with a 4.4, man. Could be playing safe there for like a 4.46. What was your fast? What would you say was your fastest 40 in your prime? Could you
I
could
was
you
about I was about 4.3, 4.35.
man? You sure? You sure? Hey, now I got a confirmation on the stats. Now these are your
Nah,
stats. I have got confirmation, but
I
do
was
I
never
need to get
4.3.
confirmation on your 40? I see you jump out the gym with the rebound total now. I'm gonna give you your ups. We
I was
like to call it ups, but now that speed. You sure?
I was not that fast. I mean, he's an outlier. People don't know Dallas played running back on the park. He was
Okay.
he was a top level running back on the youth programs. Uh, then he switched to defense. So it's always been there. He's always been in that 1 percentile. I think that's some of his greatest asset is his athleticism. I was more impressed with the 42-inch vertical. He actually told me he's gonna drop to
Right,
45.
right,
I know what a 42-inch vertical looked like.
right,
I do know what that looked like, and that is not common. So, you think about that type of stuff, and it just kind of tells you who he is as an athlete. But I think what people don't really realize is he really thinks the game through. He's very analytical when it comes to his technique, studying film, and really digesting it from that standpoint. And I think that has kind of helped him grow. And he just turned 21 in February. He's still kind of like a kid slash learner.
right, right, right,
You're in there with adults. He's not one of the 22, 23-year-old guys that came out.
right,
He's a true junior.
right,
And
right.
your body has to catch up with that. And also your mentality has to catch up with that. So he's
Hmm.
always been a mentally strong person. But I think when you go to the NFL ranks, you're amongst grown men. Grown men, they got families, real problems, contracts. You're in a different phase of life. It ain't about
Right,
video games and you cash apping me for losing on the Madden. It's real
right.
business, and I think he's
Real
seeing
business.
seeing that side of it. And Jonathan Grenard is really taking him under his wing, my frat brother, which has been good because me and him are building a relationship. So that's a good thing. You don't find that too often.
Right. And shout out to you too again, man. Cause like I say, even with your letters, like I say, I've been to college, man, and I know guys that just get letters just to try to get at girls and stuff and party and drink all the look. I know you really established some relationships out here, man, doing what these letters really about, man. And just like you say, even shouting out your frat brother for taking in your son. I know the
Yeah.
relationship snap, man. We read up on you now. We are very impressed. And like I said, getting into that, hey, Coach D and Coach C, get in here with me, man. Let me ask you a couple questions while I get them in here. D, and shout
Hmm.
out to your boys, man. We got 3D Turners. That's one thing we did notice. Is that something you doing on purpose? Everybody go have the D moniker. You might be through now, but that was something on purpose. The DT.
I, yeah, I think so. I think we all DT, so I think that had a little bit to do with it. A little bit to do
Gotcha,
with it.
gotcha. If Dallas, you are. With all the accolades, you are still a father of a five-star athlete coming. He was introduced to the world via football at the University of Alabama as a football player. If he didn't come out as a football player, as a parent, what stands or stadium would you want to be in? What sport would you have rather been in? I'm sure. And you know what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna cut out basketball because basketball is basically probably 1A or 1B in your house anyway. So outside
Yeah.
of basketball and football, what sport would you have wanted to see Dallas walk out on the college stage into?
I mean, those are only two. I mean, it can't be soccer, So it's either basketball or football. So I think the goal is just, you want to get them playing in high school to get them in the team environment because sports teach you so much, not just from development from a teenager standpoint, but just as understanding team concepts, being accountable, developing good habits that transfer over to real life, having
Mm-hmm.
a foundation of responsibility and
Yes.
dedication or something. So it just goes beyond just playing, you know. So I
Right.
think
Right.
people sometimes don't see the greater picture with sports. We always look at the end game, which is going professional, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a long time between that, and you want to pick
Yeah.
up them habits because they're gonna carry you through as an adult. You know, we play sports for a very short time. You know,
Right.
you can go from 10 to 32, 33, and you got another 30 something plus years to live.
Right.
And
Right.
you gotta take those opportunities that you created for yourself and the fundamentals that you took with it, and you gotta transfer that over to real life. And I think a lot of people underestimate that.
Right. That's true. Coach D.
How you doing, DeLon? What's going on? What's up, Coach P? So,
Yep.
DeLon, of
Hmm.
course, we know about the finance. Well, we do. So, we would love for the supporters to know a couple things. We got a couple questions for you regarding, your career as far
Hmm.
as finances. So, my first question is, how was it growing a business and raising a star athlete?
Um, I mean, I just think, his life and my life were not always in parallel. When you're younger, it's not. You're trying to define your career and seeking opportunities, but as they get older, you have to be more hands-on with them and let them experience what you are as a person and as a professional. And he's seen glimpses of that. My younger son sees it as well, and I think that exposure early has let them know, hey, my dad is in the world of finance, and I think it really came to an optimal place in last year with our VC firm and what we do with startups and bringing deals to him, and he kind of grasped it and he understood it, and so it wasn't as foreign because he's always seen it, but now it's definitely relatable because of NIL and because of having him partner and invest with different companies and different firms.
Thank you. Now, speaking of
Mhm.
NIL, we know that when Dallas was a freshman in Tuscaloosa,
Yep.
NIL was introduced to the world of college
Hmm.
football. How was
Hmm.
that process? Was it crazy? Was it smooth? Or give us some insight there.
Well, it was very unique because I read about it. Remember, Dallas senior year was a COVID year. So you had all of these new ideas popping around regarding NIL. And shout out to the O'Bannon brothers, who are the godfathers of NIL, who, made the NCAA take notice of using their name in image and likeness. And a lot of people don't know that. Ed O'Bannon was upset that he was playing a video game with him as a person on the game, it wasn't getting compensated for. So that was really the origins of it, and how we are today is important. Now, when Dallas came out, that was the first year NIL was in the NCAA. And shout out to Drew Rosenhaus. He had the foresight to see, hey, I can actually build relationships and market with local high school athletes by providing NIL services to them, bringing deals to the table, um, matching opportunities up. It was new for everyone, so no one really understood it. But me being in finance, I knew that's where the collegiate landscape was going. And the initial deals were kind of small, but you're like, okay, it's money. But then as the market starts to mature a little bit, you start to see the greater impact that it has and the impact it has on decision making, which is the scary point. So what we try to do is just keep it focused, match companies up with what he wanted to support, what he believed in. It wasn't just about getting a check, because some people were offering checks, and I'm like, that's not what you want to do. That company is not viable. That's not a fit. And I think many times when you have that strategy, those tactics will fall in place and you can maneuver yourself in the market like that.
Great. Yeah, I definitely understand that. Just seeing the scope of things,
Hmm.
building those relationships is very much important.
Yep.
Now, now we kind of did some research, of course, as Coach P said earlier. So we were looking at the Vista Equity Partners, right? Have
Hmm.
you worked with Robert Smith at all?
Oh no, I never worked with Robert Smith. Never even have a conversation with him. But he had humble beginnings. He started as a Wall Street guy and moved out to Silicon Valley and got into software. So I don't think he dwells in NIL. It's more about technology for him. So now I've never had any relationships or business endeavors with him.
Absolutely, understood there. So, final question for me:
Hmm.
what advice would you give to any young kids or adults who have a desire to get into financial investment or anything that does financial business in that realm?
NIL specifically, or just in general?
Just in general.
I would say educate yourself. You know, I'm a reader, so I read a lot. I like knowledge. I think the world moves around knowledge and decision making. I think you need to really take time to figure out what sparks your interest. Finance is not for everyone, and it's just not about making money. A lot of times, it's about committing to a goal, committing to a process or a company, and really understanding the ideology behind what they do and how that fits into how you want to invest in them. You know, you got a ton of people that invest in stocks, invest in real estate. So you can be diversified, but just be knowledgeable of what you're investing in. And I think we need to start early as Black people, so we can create those good habits later in life. We need to not only educate ourselves, but we need to be able to articulate that message over and over again, so it becomes embedded into our psyche. And that's what we need to do to create. I don't like to use the word generational wealth. Just create wealth, create opportunities for yourself via finance, and that's the way I look at it.
Right on, Coach P. Before we get DeLon out of here, we want to thank him from myself, Coach D, and also Coach C. He's on a recruiting trail right now.
Okay.
Again, as you know, and everyone else knows, you can find us on TheUACoaches.com, DeLonTurner, Instagram, TikTok, and everything else. Coach P, what do you have left for Mr. DeLon Turner?
Man, I just wanted to say, hey, like you said, appreciate him taking the time out, man. I want to get the listeners a few more. I want to slap them with a few more facts about this, man, because they don't understand what we already know. I'm talking about. Let's just get into some of this, man, because if I had to read all this, we'll go into a whole nother segment. So just before we get out of here, like I said, this man pulled over to give us time. Who does that? You know, it got to be
I didn't
somebody on
want I
Coach
didn't
C
want
level to
any
get this type of respect. So I don't want to hold this man no longer
I
than I
didn't
have
want
to.
any interruptions. I didn't want any interruptions because I'm a huge
I,
fan.
I don't want to hold him no longer than we have to, but I got to run off a few more of these things. Like I said, sports is a great thing, but when you can line it up like this, man, and you can get into the meat and potatoes of this land and get into the fiber of what's going on out here, hey, it's a beautiful thing. I'm talking about the founder of Seven Hills Venture Capital, Chief Executive Officer at Gary Bridge Acquisition Corp. Worked at Merrill Lynch as a partner and senior portfolio management. Worked at Citibank's corporate headquarters. This man worked in the investment strategy and product group to implement corporate-wide strategies and initiatives. Led a bank-wide effort to standardize relationships and outsourcing with third-party banks for trust service for Citibank wealth management portfolio. Additionally, he focused on applying emerging technologies in fintech to support Citibank's core bank services and digital investment segment. Man, you got, hey, let me tell you something now. I like doing what I do over here, but if you ever need any help, let me tell you now, you ain't even got to holler at Coach D. Just come straight to me, and I'm headed to you, man. just type me in, just tell me what I need to do, and I'm now, man. I'm trying to tell you.
I
Now, I
appreciate
love
it.
my
I
role over here, but
appreciate
if
it.
you need me, I'm now. Now, I'm gonna ask you one quick question. I'm gonna get real serious real quick before we get out of here. One question, and I'm
Okay.
gonna get out
All
here.
right.
I want. This just a question now. Are you and your family into adopting anyone over the age of 30? I'm just saying, man. Cause look, I love my family, but I'm just saying, if y'all need any extra members over there, I'm telling you, I'm a great guy. Way more than just the show. Now, I'm just saying, you ain't got to answer that now, but just remember that now. If y'all ever need another member, I'm gonna call away, man. And like I said,
I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna hold you
hey,
to
I'm
that because
I'm
we got
ready,
some
man.
messages.
I'm ready. It's like popping the question to your wife. I'm ready when you got that question. Come get me.
I definitely gotta run that by her because you are definitely old enough to be our child. So yeah.
Hey, man, again, thanks, man. And not only taking the call, but what you did to even make it a blessed call for us with no interruption, man. Get down there to where y'all going safe, man. We want to have a lot of parents on here to represent some of the great parents that we have at Alabama. But I don't know, man. After hearing yours, we probably done ran a few parents off. You know, just like some you like following a great rock band. They like, how I'm gonna follow that? So I guess we got to see what we go do
Hey,
now, man. Coach D, we should have saved him for the end of the season. I don't know. We got to go bring in a presidential nominee or something. This man killing in sports and the business world. So I hope he ain't ran away future parents, man. But shout out to you and all the parents at Alabama and the players as well. Shout out to our coach, the boy, and another beautiful season coming up at Alabama.
yes, sir.
Um,
Yes, sir.
Anything you want to say, man? And like I said again, man, super thanks, man. Thanks so much for coming through, man. And thanks so much for at least letting us know you actually even enjoy the show. Anything you want to say?
Man, I would tell you, man, keep doing what you guys doing. I'm a huge fan and supporter. Bring on more like-minded parents to tell about their experience. I think the content is great. It's transparent and it's engaging. So you guys keep doing that, what you guys do, man. And it's gonna be Roll Tide forever. And I think they got us ranked a little bit too low.
Woo!
They got us 10-2. I don't believe that, but we gonna see.
Hey, and there we go. I ain't got to say nothing. He said it better than me. It's Coach P, aka Goat Doe, the unofficial assistant. You might know me as Coach Oos, honorary Uso. Shout out to my man, Mr. DeLon Turner, Mr. DT, bringing up a couple more DTs. Y'all go know real soon and real well. But until next time, and like he said, we bringing on more parents. And hey, I'm not trying to match resumes. Just come on and be great, cause everybody, it ain't got to be this long. Shout out to everybody in the future to come on in. We ready for it. We ready for this new season. Shout out to everybody. Roll Tide, baby. Bow.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.